Ladies and gentlemen, there are malaria cases in the US, and they are finding that the people that have the infection never traveled outside of the US. I was reading prior to our lives of our forefather being disrupted by unwanted invaders. This was really the worst thing they got. All this other stuff that you see our people contracting today, we never got. I guess you get in exposure to invaders, you get exposure to disease. So, y'all, let's get into this story. For the first time in 2 decades, malaria infections have been confirmed in people that did not travel outside of the United States, leading federal health authorities to warn about the potential for transmission of the mosquito borne disease within the nation's border. This brings something to mind, y'all. If you remember during the pandemic, when our people would feel symptoms and go up to the hospital and they would turn them away. You never hear them turn anybody else away, but people within our community, it's almost like a medical standard in the US to not take us seriously and turn us away. So if we get malaria and you go up to the hospital because you're having symptoms, are y'all going to turn our people away like you did during the pandemic? I'm just asking. So, four people in Sarasota County, Florida, and one in Cameron County, Texas, were confirmed as having been infected between late May and late June through local transmission. All have gotten treatment and recovered as health officials watch for additional cases, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said. Although the potentially fatal disease was once endemic, it was declared eliminated in the United States in 1951. About 2,000 people are diagnosed with malaria in the nation each year, but those cases have involved trips abroad. For a handful who came down with the disease in recent months, that was not the case. So they're finding these mosquitoes are right here in the United States. So you don't have to travel somewhere to get malaria. People are getting it right here. So they said right now the risk of getting it is still low, but the CDC said, still experts said Americans should be aware of the possibility and take steps to prevent mosquito bites. So it must be something causing concern, although it's not that many people. They seem to be concerned about this. I mean, and let's face it, there's a lot of people in America that live by water, okay, and do have the potential of getting malaria. So they're telling people to try not to panic right now. And the message is to be aware. I mean, Americans never think about malaria unless they travel outside of the country. Malaria is a serious disease with symptoms including fevers, headaches, chills, flu like illness. Around the globe, they said 240 million infections of malaria occurs each year. In the United States, where malaria once was a major public health threat, the CDC was created to combat the spread of the disease. Okay, so through the use of insecticides, DDT, and DDT is another thing that causes a lot of health problems, and that's a whole different story. And another measure they used was draining swamps and other measures. And that is how they were able to cut down on the malaria that occurred in the United States. The last confirmed instance of local transmission happened in 2003 when 8 people became infected in Palm Beach County, Florida, the CDC said. In the 5 cases discovered between May and June, the species of malaria parasite has been identified as P. vivax, which is less likely to cause severe disease, but failing to treat it can cause relapsing episodes. Wow, I didn't know you could relapse over and over from malaria. Interesting. Malaria is treated using medication that is generally widely available in the United States. Health officials advise that people who suspect they have it get evaluated, diagnosed, and treated soon after symptoms arrive. If appropriately treated, you can recover quickly. To lower the risk of getting malaria and other mosquito borne diseases, the CDC is urging the public to apply insect repellent, use screens on windows and doors, and drain items that hold water, such as tires, bird baths, buckets, and trash containers at least once a month. Overseas travelers should pack bug spray, stay in places with air conditioning, window and door screens, or sleep under a mosquito net. The agency also recommending that hospitals have malaria testing available and stock up on treatment, and that the public health officials have a plan for rapid identification, prevention, and control. So it must be some cause for concern for them to even be putting this kind of warning out. But those of you that are out and about, going to work, going out shopping, you may have kids that are in day camp, or they're outside playing, because life happens. So you want to watch out for the symptoms. And if you feel symptoms, make sure you can contact a medical professional that you can trust and not one that will turn you away like they did during the pandemic. That's the only concerns I have, because this country is notorious for mistreating us even when things are going on and we have valid complaints. And we saw the videos when people had symptoms and they tried to deny that you had symptoms. And I know some of y'all remember that as well. This place is just not the best place to be when things are happening, because they always on some constant agenda. So everybody be careful out there. No matter what you do, don't ignore symptoms if you feel them, and especially if you've been near water. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.